Good evening. Today is July 10th, 2025. The time is 6:31 p.m., and I'm calling the Fraser City Council regular meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Item number 3, roll call of council members. Clerk, please call the roll.
All right. Councilmember Baranski. Mayor Lesich.
Present.
Councilmember Odell.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Shornack.
Present.
Councilmember Stein.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland. Present. That is a quorum, sir.
Thank you very much. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, changes, deletions that anyone would like to make to the agenda? Hearing, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. I second.
Motion by Councilmember Shornack, second by Councilmember Stein to approve the agenda of July 10th as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, citizen participation on agenda items. This is the portion of the meeting where if you cannot be here through that part of the meeting where your particular interest is, you can speak on any agenda item for up to 5 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak? All right, seeing none, I would move on to item number 6, consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Councilmember Baranski.
Yes, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I just want to add one comment. It is a sad day. It is breaking my heart to approve this because we're going to lose an amazing person who I had great hopes would one day be our chief. But I want to make it clear to the residents, it is not a early retirement buyout. He is purchasing time as allowed under the contract and choosing to leave. We're not doing what was done by past councils. So with that clarification, just because I didn't love the way it was worded, I will begrudgingly make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. I will second your motion to approve the consent agenda. I would just add that I agree with you, that we will miss you, miss Captain Gillis, and hope to see him around town in the future. But again, this is something that is actually a net positive for the city from our long-term liability costs. So I appreciate the administration's look at that and looking at the finances and explaining it to us. And I think I have a clear understanding. I hope others do. So with that, all in favor of the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion approved. Captain, you are free to leave if you'd like to.
No. That should be clap or boo. I don't know.
Wait, hold on. You can't leave yet. No. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Item number, 7A, closed session, strategy session connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement. Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session for a strategy session connected with the negotiation of the collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski to go into closed session for a strategy session connected with a negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement under the Open Meeting Act. All in favor? A roll call, please.
Yep. Baranski.
Yes.
Lesich.
Yes.
Odell.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Shornack.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Sutherland.
Yes.
We're in.
Thank you. We will now go into closed session at 6:35. All right, we're back from closed session. It is 8:55, and I would like to make a motion to authorize the Director of Public Safety to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of John Gillis.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember, or by Mayor Lesich, seconded by Councilmember Stein. Any other discussion by council? Anyone in the audience like to speak on this matter? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, roll call, please.
Baranski?
No.
You have to say it again.
No, I said no, sorry.
Lesich?
Yes.
Odell?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
Shornack?
No.
Stein?
Yes.
Sutherland?
No.
One.
Motion passes
Four.
4-3. Thank you very much. Item number 8A, priority waste contract extension. And for those in the audience that have been waiting so long, we apologize. Well, come on up and let's get this done. Or whatever we do. Whatever we do.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Before you is a recommendation to extend a contract to Priority for our waste services.
Can you speak into the microphone? I don't think we're catching you real good.
Okay. So the request for the extension, I will read the summary real quick because I think it should be important to be part of the viewing audience and the record. But the contract extension for waste disposal service expires on September 12th. Unfortunately, we discovered that most of the waste disposal companies require several months to prepare the bid, receive the award, and invest in trucks and personnel to provide the service. That is something new in the industry right now. It wasn't too long ago, trucks were available, personnel were available, and the ability to purchase them without a larger lead time was available. And that became apparent when one of the first cities I interviewed was Madison Heights. Put a bid out in March, giving the vendors like 6 weeks to put a bid in, and I noticed it was just Priority, and I called and talked to them and asked them why. And then that team learned also is just the times have changed, and to gear up for a bid, they need advance notice. I apologize for that, and rest assured, the city manager, myself, and Joe have a calendar event if this extension is approved 2 years from now to put out a bid and start preparing the vendors to entertain a proposal to the city of Oak Park.
Or, no, Fraser. That's okay.
28 years, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. After several meetings I had with Dan Benet and talking about the bid and talking about issues we've had, they put together a 3-year proposal extending the contract for 3 services at $17.50. The services is basically how the industry monitors. It's the only fair way to have a bid tab, and 3 services is your trash, recycling, and your compost. And you take the cost of those 3 based on your services, and that's really how you put the bids out, and the majority of communities do that. There's a lot of anomalies out there and a lot of different ways to bid it, but to put together the bid tab, that's what I base it off of. City has 5,700 trash pickups, 4,800 recycling pickups, 3,900 compost pickups. The extension also includes dumpster service upon thorough review of the proposal, including meetings with other many waste disposal companies, many public works directors, came to the conclusion that we are in a position right now, because with the contract expiring in September 12th, to recommend an extension, and where I felt just as comfortable with the extension, and I believe in the competitive market and putting things out to bid. But when you look at the bid tab, the prices that Priority gave us are quite fair compared to other bids that happened in other local communities recently. I do want to mention just a couple of the bids. I expanded the bid tab, but the bids that went out to Harrison Township shall be in priority within the last year, some June of '24 to November of '25. Even priorities numbers were higher in those bids for 3 services. And most importantly, point out is Tringali was awarded for Harrison Township recently at 19 and a quarter compared for 3 services. It's very difficult to accurately say what your annual cost difference when you put those together, but I did make an attempt, and I can have, Joe, maybe if you can share this with the city council. It's a little clearer bid tab than I had when I put the agenda item together. But our extension with priority is going to cost us $1,123,000 approximately a year. And that's approximate because there's some variables depending on tonnage and other services. But plugging in those 3 bids in there, you can see we're at 1.2 million based on the extension. You look at Harrison Township, it'd be we're at 1.12. Harrison Township would be 1.2. If you compare it to the bid that came in at Shelby Township, the cost would be at $1.29 million. And New Haven's cost side by side, to the best I can compare it to, would be an annual cost of $300,000, satisfying me that the extension is a fair number. I do like to mention that Dan Benet, the Vice President for Priorities here, I will introduce him to take any questions, but this might not be very popular to state, but, and I'm going to try to be factual so I don't slander Priority, but Priority has they're having more difficult times in other communities, and there's a portal service that we desperately want our residents to use. They respond to our portal requests, and that was a resident's complaint. If somebody calls into DBW, we enter it in there. Residents have an effort to run it in there, enter it in there, but let me see. 1 second.
It's on the FAQ.
I'll do it off my memory.
Robert, are you talking about the FAQ?
I'm sorry?
The FAQ that we got.
No, it wasn't on the FAQ, but it was just, I did an analysis of the portal request, and it was for their first 10 months of service when I was working on this in May. There was only 187 requests in the portal, and that's calls coming into us, and everything's documented and followed up, and our staff looks at that to see if Priority's following up with that. They're on that, and I do know there's others in other venues, people are trying to communicate trash problems, but letting us and Priority know what the issues are, and we can respond appropriately, and they've done a great service for us. If I'm being redundant or didn't mention it, I know other directors in other communities, and there is a lot of portal requests that are not being satisfied by Priority. And I think Fraser is in a unique position where they have a LBC, which I think is a liaison business person in the office for Priority to manage the portal. But also, I think Fraser really lucked out is there was a gentleman, Chad Redmond, that worked for Green for Life, and he was a supervisor for Green for Life, and when Priority bought him out, he made the transition and stayed in our community, and I cannot say enough about Chad, and I think that's part of, it's not successful, but why we are getting better service than any other community. Granted, they can do better, and I'm going to introduce Dan, and you can have hard questions for him, but they can do better, but we are better off than most. Are we accepting subpar by awarding I think it's an unpopular service. I think most trash hauling contractors, Green for Life or Tringali and everybody. It's a rough service to perform. I do want to kick out just a couple facts before we open it up for questions, but Priority does 15,500 pickups every month in the city. That's a lot when you see they only have 187 requests or issues listed in the portal. In 10 months of service, that's 155,000 pickups since they took over in July, or 155,380 pickups since July, and that's 155,193 pickups. It's a tremendous amount of work with very few issues, with like a 99% efficiency. I'm not rah-rah on Priority. It would have been my desire to put this out to bid, but after reviewing the facts of the portal, reviewing the bid tab, and pulling everything together, meeting with Priority about issues, they're more than eager to resolve issues and come to the table and work with us. And they answer the phone right away and they call back. And when we know about an issue, it's resolved, which makes me feel comfortable to recommend a 3-year extension be approved with Priority. Any questions?
Councilmember Shornack had her light on first.
Well, 2 questions and then comments. One, because I already requested this, so I want to ask, because I've had several residents actually recently ask me, are we going to have like a hazardous waste day where we will have somewhere, maybe at the DPW, set up, and that once a year at least, people can bring in like their bad oil, their paints, batteries, tires, things we can't put out in our normal trash?
So I did look into that for shred days, hazardous
Nope,
waste.
not shred days.
Okay, but we looked into them all.
Okay.
Hazardous waste being one of the most expensive to host because you have to collect the hazardous material and haul it off. But I'm going to prepare numbers with the city manager and present them to city council and say, is this what you want to do? And, you know, it's in a magnitude. It all depends on how much hazardous waste you get and how many days you want to have it open, but you're looking $30,000, $40,000. It's a expensive in Denver, but we're looking into it, and we're willing to partner with Priority to do that once we have this together. And we could plan in the winter, put something in front of city council, and do a hazardous waste day in the spring if council desires it.
Okay. 2, are we going to, well, I want to know with regards to things that don't fit in your garbage can, how it seems like it takes them a long time to pick up like mattresses, or if someone throws out a piece of old furniture or something, because it doesn't fit in the can. So,
Dan could maybe, when he comes up here, clarify, but their operation will do a follow pickup for bulk waste. And when you mention cart, I think it's important to mention that when I talk to particularly waste management, the industry's changing to cart only. There's longevity on their employment workforce and everything else, but I think waste management is not an absolute, but they are only going to bid on contracts that are cart only. Cart only is where all your trash has to fit in the cart. If you have clean your basement, have 5 extra bags, it's not popular because they won't pick it up. You can only put out as much as they can fit in your trash. For trash, bulk would still be available, but cart only is something that's coming down the road and we might have to consider.
okay. And then my next question is with regards to, so like before Priority took over from GFL, I have a very large can that is for specifically yard waste. There is a reason, because I can't put my stupid leaves in the street because I have a locust tree, and those just blow right back on my lawn, so it's pointless. So the whole point of me getting that can, and I know there's other people who have these, not just myself, but was so that I don't have to buy 6 million stupid little bags.
Right.
And then I was told, once I had that can and switched to Priority, that they don't pick up that can anymore. So is that going to change? Because they wouldn't. It sat out there for 2 weeks. I mean, I had to keep bringing it back in, but.
I would probably like to meet with you and figure out what can. I don't think there's a reason why they wouldn't pick up is it a
Say
cart?
they don't pick up Yeah, it's a cart.
It's a cart.
the cam
They
that-
should be
it
picking
was
up
the-
compost carts.
Yeah, they wouldn't, they said it was too big. They said they don't pick up those large ones, because it's like as big as my garbage can.
Is it 64 gallons more or 95?
I don't know, however.
Either way, Dan's, I'm sure he's taking notes right now, and that should be, I'm convinced that should be picked up.
Okay. And then my biggest complaint for my neighborhood is, and I'm not kidding you, every single time my trash gets picked up, more so the recycling, every single time I have to pick up stuff out of my street, every single week. And that did not, and I'm sorry, but that did not happen with GFL. I wasn't the biggest fan of GFL either, but I'm just saying it didn't happen. Literally, ever since Priority has taken over, every single week, there is stuff from my recycling can in the street and then blown up on my lawn, every single week. And no, I have not called you guys about it, I just pick it up. But since we're on it and we're here,
So it's not a gripe to cause about it, and I'm going to overemphasize that our Public Works and Priority needs to know when a mess is left behind, and they look at it, investigate things thoroughly, and sometimes, I mean, if a garbage was missed, they have evidence it was put out too late or whatever, but they will look at the garbage can and see that on the truck and see that the driver put it in the mess, created a mess when he dumped it, but they can't react unless Public Works knows or Priority knows, and something gets entered into the portal. And I think Dan will overemphasize that he wants to know this, so something can be done. We don't know about that trash being left at your curb.
well, I had the number, so I called. And
Okay.
I literally sat on hold for 15 minutes before I just got ticked and hung up. So, just saying, that's why I just finally gave it up and just said I'll just pick up my
I'm not throwing Dan on the bus, but let's double up on that question when he comes up. And
He's
they have
writing stuff down so he can answer it, but those are my biggest concerns right now. Shred days are supplied, like my credit union does shred days for free for anybody. You don't even have to be a member. So shred days, that's an NBD thing. They're offered tons of places for free. So that's not a concern for me, but I know that a lot of people have talked about the hazardous waste that they want to try to get rid of and just trying to find a place to recycle it or dispose of it correctly, like mercury in the old thermometers or the old heating and cooling, HVAC system they had, the mercury things. So like those, you can't just throw them in the trash. So,
If you don't mind, I would like to expound on being on hold for 15 minutes with Priority and speak for them. They pride themselves on how responsive they are on the phone. Dan's taking notes on that. But the portal link, we just recently worked with Priority, get a QR code, and we have them at our counter, but we're going to post the QR codes on our Facebook page. It'll pop open where you enter your name, address, and the problem, and then it's put into the portal, and that's where Joe and I and Hunter see these items come in and see if they're followed up on. And I think it's easier than calling, but I don't think a 15-minute hold is acceptable, and Dan will agree with me.
okay, I'm done.
All set. All right, Councilmember Odell.
I'll have questions for Dan as well, but in the contract, is there anything being taken away that we already have with this new extension, or is it exactly the same services that we had with the last contract?
So, in general, yes. The one item is, it's just an accounting mechanism in there right now, but when you look at Priority's extension offer, the price, the three services for compost is going down when you show three services. The county price is, they're going to bill us 12 months out of the year at a lower rate and spread it out, and it's going to actually be a little higher, but that's different. And I think Priority wants to change, everybody's been provided a can, and they want to charge a cost for the delivery and the purchase of a cart for our residents.
So if a cart's damaged or something by their truck or anything like that,
I'll let Dan expound on that, but they're going to keep their warranty. Dan maybe define the warranty, but I think I'm speaking a lot for Dan right now, but we can double up on these questions. But if the driver's
Have Dan
damaged,
pull up a chair.
if the driver's damaged your cart, I have confidence that they would take responsibility and replace whatever is broken or repair it or replace the cart.
Well, what does the contract say? That's more important.
Well, in the
Because it's an excellent question, and that's what we're going to,
The contract is maybe 18, 20 pages long. I don't recall what the warranty language was in the contract, but I do know that it's listed in the proposal, and we're going to match the same terms that was in the previous contract.
and right now, when it's damaged, they replace it for free.
They'll fix it or replace it is what I'm sure they're,
Sorry, not to cut you off, but it's like,
I want to hear that right from Dan.
I want to hear it from Don. I want to hear it's
Dan.
in the contract.
All the Ds.
Yeah, because what he says verbally means nothing. It's what's in writing.
Yep.
so with that is, if the extension is approved by city council, the next step is back to staff to work with Dan to correct, to put in place these terms of the extension letter into our old contract and have something very similar to resemble that, that satisfies city manager Don and myself, and iron everything out, and we will have a regular contract. We're not accepting just a proposal.
I see.
I have a couple questions. To the number one question, and it goes to what Councilmember Shornack said, would bulk pickup continue throughout the term of this contract for the 3 years? There would be no change in that 3-year period?
There's no
regarding
change.
bulk pickup? Okay. Yes. As regarding hazardous waste, there's a place in Macomb County you can drive it to if you want to.
And that is, so sorry to interrupt you, but that is on our webpage on the DBW under trash, and that's currently the procedure is for them to take it up to Macomb County.
I guess that was the only two things that I had regarding service. So go ahead, Councilmember Odell.
Hi, Dan. Popular guy, right? So, couple questions. I've had seen numerous reports and of priority putting recycling and waste and everything all into the same truck on pickup. Is that something common, or do you guys do that like when you're behind, or because there was multiple residents that commented that everything was just being thrown into the same truck to do that? Is that something that your company directs to do when you're behind schedule or lacking employees, or?
No, it's never a directive to mix materials. There's 3 commodities: trash, recycling, and yard waste, and all need to be separately collected and taken to the proper source. So trash predominantly goes to our facility, our transfer site in Detroit off of McNichols. Our compost will go to the same site in a different location, and we transload it to a composting facility. And then recycling goes primarily to Recycle Detroit, which is on 8 Mile and I believe Evergreen. The few claims that have come to me through Rob or through Joe, my stance is people do make mistakes. We can allow for some variance if a mistake occurs, but if it's a occurrence of choice and it's a habitual or continuous issue, the employees do get reprimanded and disciplined properly through our protocols. There have been some cases where driver or crew made a bad decision and we took care of that. There's also been other cases where somebody thinks something is compostable through yard waste that is not. One instance comes to mind where a resident thought that 2x4s, because they were made of wood, were compostable. Obviously, a mistake on their side. So when we do take that yard waste bag to make the problem go away, instead of leaving it there, the trash guy identified that it was mixed and improper. They got rid of it as opposed to leaving it. And because the yard waste crews may have gone there and just left it on the ground. So then they get a call and whatever. So understand that image is important, and somebody seeing that, not knowing that, thought we mixed it in that case, but we actually had not. But again, any issues or concerns that come to my office, I take those very serious because it's our reputation on the line. And if we're not doing the proper side of the service, then we hold our crews accountable to that.
When we assigned the contract to you from GFL, I remember I can't remember if it was you or somebody else from the company was stating that all your trucks had cameras on there so they could see if someone was missed or something. They could always go back. Is that still the case? Because I heard, got truck issues and a lot of them were not outfitted correctly. I mean, are we still getting the same service that you guys sold us 2 years ago with the technology aspect.
Yeah, all of the trucks that are in Fraser have cameras and GPS tracking. Each truck has up to 6 potentially, 5 if they're non-automated vehicles, 6 if they are automated, because there's an additional hopper camera. The ability to pull footage is limited due to data and space. All the trucks are running for, let's say, 10 hours a day on the road, and they fill up at about every 5 service days. So if you alert us of an issue, let's say today is Thursday. If you called me on Wednesday next week and asked me for something that occurred today, I can't guarantee I still have that footage. But if you called me Friday, Monday, I can, and we will pull that, and that's when we do our investigation. That's why it's so important for when an issue does come up that we get alerted right away, because it takes the gray of the situation out, allows it to be white and black. Was there fault on our side, or was there maybe a mistake on the other, and how do we correct it? Before I was in the waste industry, I didn't know what could or could not go in the recycling bin. I'm sure I contaminated mine a number of times thinking something was or wasn't. So having the ability to review that footage is essential and very important to us. And when it gets put into the portal through our employees on our side or the DPW staff, we can allow that feedback to occur, and then a follow-up call to the resident occurs, allowing for us to educate for our mistake or educate on something that they can correct.
All right. Thank you.
I'll take a shot. I didn't mean that. I'll make an attempt to express myself. So this started going back in time a little bit with Rizzo. It was the original provider. I think we had Waste Management before. And that was back in the 2000s. And then it got extended, and then it got extended again in 2017. And we know that there's been a couple of corporate changes in that, and some litigation and some incarceration because of those things. But now we're here. In 2017, I voted no on an extension because I wanted to go out for a bid. So it's frustrating that we're here tonight. I understand that the industry has changed and that capacity for this service is limited. However, I can still be frustrated on behalf of my residents. One of the things that people ask me, what does the mayor do? I said, well, number one thing I do is make sure your garbage is picked up. And I'd say in the last year, we've had more complaints and as the heat rises, as people complain on social media and express themselves, it seems to multiply. However, I've received videos from residents saying, this truck, here's the truck actually putting compost in the truck. Now I know that I need to ask some more questions. But it's happened many times. I've gotten quite a few from different neighborhoods, different times, different people that I don't know. One of the complaints that all in one truck, the other one is late, odd hour pickup. I understand you're short-staffed and you have truck issues and things like that. So that's not such a concern to me. The next thing is you're asking for a 24% increase and giving me exactly the same service. That's the service you're promising me. Nothing will, it says it right on the brochure, nothing's going to change. Will we, should our residents expect that this, at least the complaints, and hopefully as you get a year under your belt that things are going to get better? I read in the paper that your trucks were, pardon my French, shit when you bought them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how somebody buys a company and doesn't check how good the trucks are, but are you, with our additional, $400,000 or $300,000, are you going to be making an investment in capital in equipment so that we don't have these kind of breakdowns, hydraulic fluid leaking, or whatever's leaking?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So about 60 days or so ago, our CEO went down to our truck company, the company we buy and lease vehicles from, made a purchase of 50 new vehicles. What that'll do is obviously push out some of the, as you put it, shit that we have remaining that needs to be kind of just put out of service. Scrap those vehicles, take off the parts that we can salvage, and then get rid of those problem children. And then improve our reserve roster of trucks, because now it's an improvement on there. These trucks are primarily going to be ASL, automated side load, and it's mainly for recycling service, because it goes into the cab of the vehicle directly from the arm, as opposed to some Corrado front arm or front load automated vehicles that goes into a container in front, and then that container dumps over the top. It's problematic for recycling because of the design of how we collect recycling. Recycling is loosely bound in the cart or the bin. And as that goes over top, you can't see if something falls out or the wind pushes it. It's not a great design for recycling. However, these automated side loads, because they're going from cart to truck in one fell swoop, the spreading of material will greatly reduce. But yes, we are actively and proactively looking at ways to improve our roster of vehicles, because that, one, keeps services more in line, more efficient. But number two, we don't want our guys and gals in the trucks parked because their truck is down for multiple hours, right? It's not good for them. It's not good for us. It's not good for you. It's not good for the residents. It's just not good. So, 50 vehicles at $400,000, $500,000 a tick is not a cheap bill, but it was an investment that we are making to move forward the right way.
Okay. I do have to say, I was driving home the other day from up north, and I saw the priority trucks on the east side of I-75 there, and I kind of got jealous because they looked like they were really nice. So I look forward to that. And so what else can you tell me about priority and, because I'm reading, I have to make hard decisions. And one of them is I have to justify a 24% increase on a service that isn't going, that's basically the same service I had before. So can you tell me why I should do that? And what happens if I don't?
Yeah, I'll speak from where we started in July of last year. So it's just over a year. We were all in a chaotic moment of stress. We put a lot on your shoulders, your DPW staff, yourselves, and the administration. It's not something that I took lightly, and when Joe or Rob do call me, I'm the first one that I will pick up on, if I can, the first ring. And where we started going into the winter should have felt more normal. It took 3 months for us to get some of the decrepit vehicles fixed, and then it took us 3 months to stabilize some of the failures, and then the increase in volume during that time doesn't help. And then you go for the next 6 months, and it should feel more normal, and that's what we're seeing. Now, every 3 months or 6 months, things tend to always improve because we are learning more and more and more and more. Don Beretta was with us for the brief tenure of his time with with us from GFL. I learned an absolute ton from him. And one thing that he said to me about Fraser was, he's been here for forever. And two is that people are understanding, forgiving, but hold you accountable when you fail. And we were not good for those first 3 months. We were better in the next 3, and we continue to press forward. So our investment in the capital will help and we haven't seen that yet. The vehicles are barely halfway into our possession now. And we're expecting the rest of those 50 by November as they trickle in. And they'll be dispersed out to replace that. So where we started, you saw a dramatic increase. Where we are now, we are going to see the next dramatic increase. And my commitment, as well as our CEO's commitment, is that we don't rest on being good. We don't rest on being okay. We rest on being perfect every day. And while it's very difficult to be perfect in an industry with 1 million touches a year, 3 different services, 5 days a week, all of those things that can go wrong will go wrong, but it's how you respond, correct, and move forward. Anybody else on the council, anybody in the city administration ever need anything, my phone number can be easily accessed by Rob or his team.
Thank you. Best way to report a problem? 15 minutes on hold for somebody that's working all day, that's not convenient. Is there a better way? What's the priority preferred way to report a problem?
So Rob, 2 weeks ago, asked me to, or maybe even less, to put together a quick way for residents to get in touch with us that don't have or cannot sit on hold for any extended period of time. I'll address the whole time in just a moment, but I'll answer your question. So the QR code that we have, I saw it on the front door. There's 2 of them that are available. One that will lead to the City of Fraser City of Fraser page of our website.
Okay.
That can answer some frequently asked questions about general statements about your service. It also on that page has a contact us button that you can click, will go into a link. Resident fills out the information, name, address, phone number, email, note of what's the problem, and then it goes right to our team to address it. That will then get loaded manually from our side into the portal so that your team, DPW staff, can see what had occurred.
Okay.
The other QR code goes directly to the contact us form. If they don't have a question about service, they just want to report their concern, the other QR code can go right to that contact us form that goes right to the person that's watching over and managing the service for you and the residents.
Thank you. That's all I have. Anyone else have questions about priority?
Would you like me to address the phone?
Yep.
Okay. So I can't remember when I was here, if it was just before or just after. I think it was just before the transition from GFL to us. July, our phone system that was operating perfectly fine before July 1st basically fried and collapsed in and on itself. We received 7,000 calls within the first 4 hours of July 1st, that Monday. So the back end side of it just collapsed and it failed. And it's not easy to change a phone provider. It's not like me walking into Verizon or to Xfinity to change my phone. They can do it within a couple of minutes. We had to source, outfit, interview, and then choose what was the best service provider at the time. We are now with AWS, Amazon Web Services, and they implemented their full outfit by the end of last year. We always conduct reviews of the performance of the tool and their system. 15 minutes is not acceptable. There are times in which peak volumes at 8 a.m., if you call it 8 a.m., I'm going to tell you it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get in touch with, so maybe 2 p.m., because everybody is calling from the day before and it could be a backlog. We do have an off-ramp available that you can register a callback. That way, if you can't stay on the phone for that extended period of time, we can make those calls back to you. Currently, your queue for your city, so it's queue means it's where your phone goes into and where we have people available to make those callbacks. Those callbacks are occurring in an hour or less on average. So not ideal as far as like instant gratification, but if you're calling at 9 and you get a call back at 10, it's a reasonable time to get that call back and get your issue resolved. I would be much more concerned if it was greater than an hour. The next part of that is looking at additional ways for it to be more automated, for the information to be logged on that call as opposed to a callback. So again, information shared to us without the need for a callback. So that's the next wave that we're looking at.
Can I answer your question?
Yeah, well, and then just about the big can that I have that is for yard waste and
Yeah, that-
literally just for leaves.
That should have been serviced, and what I'll do is try and find, after the meeting, reach out, get your address to find out where you're at, and then see who's the crew and see what the issue was. I'm not going to say that I'm going to say they probably should have serviced it, but if there's a reason behind it, then I can at least find out and then make the correction so that they do service it because it should have been.
Yeah, because I actually did call DPW about that, because it was 2 weeks in a row I put the can out, and like nobody came. And then like the third week finally, because I was just really irritated by the point, and so
Yeah.
then somebody did stop by and pick it up. But I was told at that point from the people with your company that you guys just were not using, like we weren't allowed to use that big can. But I'm like, but it's kind of your can because you kind of inherited it. But I'm like, okay, so we can use the big can?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I need that.
Now, do you offer compost carts to those that request them, or are they for purchase at this point in time? I understand we got them in the past. Has that
It
changed?
wasn't in the previous contract as far as like GFL selling to residents. I can easily get that added. It's not on our proposal either, if you look at it. So I can get that added so that the price is on if you approve the extension, get that added so it's a clear-cut price for it, and we can offer it. We do stock yard waste carts in our yard, if that's what
Okay. All right. Any questions? Would anyone like to make a motion? Councilmember Baranski.
I will make a motion to extend the 3-year service contract with Priority Waste contingent upon review by the city attorney.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Baranski, seconded by Councilmember Odell to extend the 3-year service contract with Priority Waste contingent upon review by the city attorney. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Yes, Mr. Haggerty.
Don,
Can we give him a chance to
Don,
grab
do you
the
not
mic?
like the wording of that motion? Before we
Well,
just,
we read it exactly.
yeah, that's why I was going to say, but I don't kind of like it either, but I did read what was in the packet.
Would you like us to amend it?
I don't like it either.
Well,
But I was just,
let's amend it. Let's get it
But I
right.
want to hear what is
I'm just
wrong.
thinking my review is irrelevant. It's whether I'm okay with it that really matters.
Review and
So
approval.
Review and approval would be best.
I will amend it to review and approval.
I'll second that amendment.
Added.
Okay. Please, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks
Good
for
evening.
hanging out.
Yep, Doug Haggerty, 31048 Rickard. I mean, no disrespect to anybody in the room, but I do have to ask the question. This is a 600-pound gorilla that's sitting there that people are watching, that people who have watched council meetings for the years. And myself, I've been around council meetings here for 35 years, both here on this side and sitting up there for 8-year terms. 1,120,000 annually, 24% increase on it. This is one of our city's largest annual budgets that we have to fund. It's one of the most important services that the city provides the citizens. 3-year contract extension and a 3% automatic annual increase. That means that's about a $35,000 increase per year. Under the current contract that was approved and stipulated in the minutes from the council meeting that night, it was supposed to be a 2.25% if we were extending a contract. If this is a new percentage increase, I just want to make sure that council's aware of it. In the minutes from 2017, it was 2.25. So if we're extending the same contract, we may wish to take a look at that. And that's part of the problem with rushing. And you don't really, I feel really bad for everybody in the room. I feel bad for council. You're having to make some decisions. Unlike other decisions that we've had to make like this in the past, that hasn't been so compounded on you where you almost don't have a choice tonight in making a decision. The history of the contract extension was July 13th, 2017. It was a pretty eventful night that night. I think you guys were talking about mayors and other things that night too. So you guys had your hands full back then. I could be wrong at this, but that giving the contract, an 8-year contract, I got a 67-year-old brain, so maybe it's not as sharp, but I don't ever remember the city of Fraser entering into an 8-year contract as they did that night. Matter of fact, the mayor voted no on that particular item that night, and he was concerned about the length of the contract. I do remember that aspect of it. Priority Waste has their hands filled too. They jumped in, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they have over 70 municipalities that they are saying grace over now, or at least 73 residential contracts that they're saying grace over now. It's been past practice, as far as I can remember, that there was a request for proposal that went out, and it was something that was given time. This certainly doesn't feel to me that council has had time. Again, there's not much time to the end of the contract, and there's not many options at this time, but I truly feel badly for council at this point in time that this position with a 24% increase that you're staring down the pipe at. we always had stuff at least 6, 9 months ahead of time that we started the process. You know, Waste Management said in that letter that's in your packet, it said, they noted that the City of Fraser, in their email, it was very important what they noted. They said, Waste Management noted that they strongly encourage municipalities and have for years to solicit bids at least 1 year prior to that. They went on to say that this 1 year allows the proper process to take place and allows decision makers to thoroughly evaluate the proposals and the recommendations that are made by the individuals proposing it. So you're in a tough spot, and I feel for you guys and everyone that's involved trying to make this decision. On the contractual side of the past contract, as I said, it clearly states in a number of locations that the increase was only 2.25%. So you may want to check that into if that's an extension, is that not the 3% that's being proposed on it. What you also have in there, we may want to check to determine that on Section 11 of the contract is the default and termination of the contract. Make sure that those things are stipulated in the new contract in the same way if you guys are approving the same contract. And there's basically points A, B, C, and D that you want to make sure that you have those with you. In the old contract, there was a performance bond. If this is a contract that's being established, the old performance bond was $250,000. Does that apply under this contract extension? Is there a performance bond? Because that old performance bond was put forward by the old carrier. They may have, when they picked it up, they may have had to make a performance bond, but under this one, you may want to see if that does apply and that would be something that the administration and Mr. Denault could check on But right in the minutes of the meeting, July 13th in 2017, Section B, and it was under approval of the Rublish contract, it says that 2.25% is stated there. That was approved by council at that point. And also, one other thing that was brought up tonight said to implement the 8-year universal trash cart program, an additional monthly service fee is being paid of $1.04. So is your current contract including that fee of $1.04 for the additional units? So we've been paying on that for 8 years, and so you may want to check to make sure that that is concise with the current contract. Again, I don't mean to be a nitpicker on any of this tonight, but council, you're in a spot, and I give you a lot of gratitude. Your guys are going to have to be the ones that suck it up and got it through. But thank you.
Thank you. And we don't know, anybody else would like to speak on priority? Dan, can I ask you to come back up here, because you did raise a question, and we don't normally do this, but I think it's an important one. CART program, is that, I did not read the details of the contract. Are we still paying for carts on a monthly basis?
The $1.04 goes away because the carts have already been in. That was a part of that 8-year, I think. That was, obviously, I was not a part of that
Right.
conversation. with
No, you weren't.
So that part of it goes away. Our pricing is reflective of the all-in price for the collection services and how they're defined.
Okay, and we have a warranty on the existing carts. So if my cart, the wheels fall off, I get a new cart at no charge? Or?
We would replace the wheels if it's repairable.
Okay.
And then to also answer your question, if we do damage to carts, we replace them at cost.
Okay, so there is a warranty of some sort.
Yes.
If I run over it with my own car, I'm going to probably have to buy one.
Correct.
But if you run over the cart, you'll throw it away and get me a new cart.
That's right.
Okay, just
Talk about
service.
service.
Warranty?
as long as,
The life of the can?
So all cans that you had 8 years ago come with a 10-year warranty. So we're at the tail end of that as it is.
So we'll have 1 year of
so what
covered cans. For anyone that's been here for the duration of it.
so what happens in year
Sorry.
3? Are we back to If I don't need a new can, are you renting them? Are we buying them as needed, or what's?
Buying as needed, replace as needed, the warranty just goes away, and for the carts that, I mean, at that point, normal wear and tear carts are intended to be in service for 20 years. Warranty is really intended for premature wear of that cart during that time period. I have a cart myself I got 6 years ago. It still looks pretty much brand new because I clean it out every once in a while. So the carts, parts, and all of those things. Now, in year 3, what other communities have done, they've approached us to negotiate, whether it be an extension or a purchase outright of those carts to refresh them. So we're always willing to come to the table, discuss that, capital-wise, handling that. Yep.
All right, thank you.
However, even if it's more than 10 years, when you guys run over our carts, you're going to
Yeah,
replace
if there's
them.
negligence, there's
Okay,
negligence.
just want to point that out. Okay, good.
Yes.
We're going to put you in charge of that.
Oh, we might want to have.
All right. Are
Throw 'em out in front of
there
me.
any other
My
questions?
cart's old.
Any other comments from the audience? Any other questions from council? All right, we'll take a vote. Let's see, so the motion, Don, we changed that, we amended that. Would you like to read it back for us, Mr. Gitschlag, please?
To extend the 3-year service contract with Priority Waste contingent upon the review and approval by the city attorney.
Okay. Should we take a roll call vote?
That's your prerogative.
Roll call, please.
Baranski,
Yes.
Lesich,
Reluctantly, yes.
Odell,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Shornack,
Yes.
Stein,
Yes.
Sutherland.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much. All right. Where is my agenda? Oh, there it is.
Thank you.
In front of me. Okay, item number 8B, salt dome purchase kit.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Before you is agenda item to purchase a salt dome kit. I feel like we recently went through this in depth at the budget session, so there's a report in the back about the items I talked about, the needs and wants, the needs, why we need to do this. It was decided by council to approve that in the budget. So I can go into further depth of why we need it, if you like. But Department of Public Works requests City Council approve the quote to purchase a salt dome kit. The Public Works intends to purchase a dome, the retaining blocks, and other materials to construct this dome. We reviewed all these bids, and we recommend a quote from ClearSpan in the amount of $14,591.73.
Okay, I have 3 lights here. Councilmember Shornack, we'll start.
I would like to approve the salt dome. So, because you read the whole summary anyway, so.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, you're making a motion?
I'm making a motion to approve the salt dome.
I'll second it.
All right. What was the amount on that, just so we can have it on the record?
$14,591.73.
Thank you. All right. Motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski, and we have another light from Councilmember Odell.
Quick question. So that's purchase the kit. Are you guys constructing or is, okay. I just wanted to get clarification on it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I turn them off so I remember. Any questions or comments by council? None. Okay. Any member of the audience like to speak on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, motion passes 6-1. Item number 8C, Agenda and Meeting Management Software Agreement.
All right,
City Manager.
I am going to try to make this as brief as possible. So you have all the information before you regarding a service for agenda and meeting management software. Prior to my coming here, we had been with Granicus. That is one company. Another company that does this service is Civic Plus, who we also currently use for our website. There are some great benefits to go with the proposal that we received from Civic Plus. We are able to fully integrate with the calendar, and also the ability to be able to stream our meetings on the website instead of using YouTube. YouTube does have some potential issues with censoring some of the videos. So that really is kind of a direct violation of transparency in government. Also, one of the great things about Civic Plus is that the cloud-based storage is unlimited, so we don't need to worry about that. It is a cost-effective proposal compared to Granicus. I believe the Granicus cost was at 2 or 3 times as much. We are already familiar with the platform. This would be additional modules, so we have a number of people that are able to use it easily without much training. This is something that could be rolled out within about 6 months. It'll make things much easier from the perspective of minute taking, because the information would be automatically entered by any of the department heads, similar to how we have the ARFs right now. That information would carry through to the agenda packet and be able to be utilized by the city clerk for preparing the meeting minutes as well. And it would also automatically, once the packet is created, populate into our calendar on the website as well. So at this point, looking to move forward with this proposal, the amount for the first year, which includes all of the setup costs, is $16,450, and the annual cost after that would be starting at $11,500.
Okay. Yes, Councilmember Shornack.
I would make the motion to, so I got to go back to the thing, hold on, because I was going to think, but make a motion to approve the management software. Hold on, I got to get back to the original page of the summary. Oh, thank you. Well, you still have to go up to somewhere. No, it's right there. No, I know the amount. Yeah, for the, okay, I'll just say the new software for $16,450, but I was looking for.
From Civic Plus.
From
Second.
Civic.
The annual, huh?
Sorry.
From Civic Plus, thank you. Yep. And then, yeah, there's $11,500 annually, but that'll come to us every year, so I'm not really worried about that, but the $16,450. Because we definitely need better software, without a doubt, especially for our meetings, especially in general, and if we ever, God forbid, have to go to Zoom meetings again, God help me. I'm sure this would make it easier.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Odell. So this is the 2 parts, right? One is we won't, oh.
Didn't you already second it?
I did, but it's okay.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, already.
Yeah,
I
it was
already
way
have Baranski
earlier.
written in.
No, you're all right.
No,
You can
go
give it
ahead
to
with
Odell.
I apologize.
You were
Okay.
first. You were first.
I was
I was just trying to be fast.
deep into
But
that.
thanks.
Efficient.
Do you have something else? Okay.
I
All
didn't
right.
realize she was going to delay the.
This would eliminate YouTube, and we wouldn't have to have commercials during our council meeting replays.
That is true.
That's helpful. And then this works in, for the administration side, makes agenda preparation consistent. You can send a department out. They want to do an agenda item, they can prepare all the materials, forward it to you, you can integrate it into the packet.
The great thing is that it's all cloud-based, so there's a template that would be prepared similar to the ARF that I have. It would be entered online by the department heads or whomever's putting together that item, and it gets automatically sent to an approving person and gets implemented into the packet.
And then I've received some of the Granicus agendas, and they can push out a whole PDF of the entire packet, or you can have integrated links in the packet so you can go to those other files. It's similar to that, I assume.
Yeah, definitely.
I assume, since they're
Bookmarked,
competitors.
and then with the video integration, we would need to just connect the bookmarks to those agenda items.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any other member of council with questions, comments? Any member of the audience like to speak on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. I think this will be a big improvement, both internally and public facing. So, all right, we're on to item 9A, Library Subcommittee Report.
I have something. We just got an email About the library?
No, you're joking.
We just got an email today requesting a second meeting of the subcommittee. So when we last left it, they wanted to go back to the drawing board. They were working with the architect, had different ideas. So it sounds like they're ready to come back to us with some more concrete numbers. And I think that will be a very beneficial conversation. The meeting's probably not going to be until end of July, early August. And so hopefully we'll have something more concrete in August in terms of what their timeline is. But it's their news to share. So we are continuing to be open to share thoughts and ideas and collaborations to hopefully allow them to achieve their objective while making sure the city is, from a fiduciary standpoint, protected.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions on that? Seeing none, item number 10, report of city administration.
All right, several things to quickly report. First of all, the roof at the Steffens shed, we did have some tornado damage, and we got quotes for that. We're going to be repairing the roof at a cost of about $9,000. Obviously, we've talked about Gillis's retirement. That's going to be next Thursday at 4:30 here, if any of you would like to attend that. We have been working with the county and looking at the schedule for the parade. Unfortunately, construction on Garfield is not quite going to be done on time, I believe, so we are not going to be able to have the parade. We're exploring different options, some other type of alternatives, so hopefully looking for something cool and different. Blood Drive is going to be here July 24th from 8 to 2. On July 19th at Steffens Park, there's going to be a showing of Toy Story. This Saturday in Steffens Park from 10 to 2, we've got the vendor market. So lots of cool things with that, and also food trucks available. So that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the city manager? All right, item number 11, report of mayor and city council. We'll start with Councilmember Perry.
I have, I think, two today. We had some water main breaks like 2 weeks ago, and I thought we had those pressure relief valves installed, and we got data from them real time. Do we know, like, are they malfunctioning? Weren't those relief valves supposed to stop the breakage?
So they're not malfunctioning. One of the things that, with new staff in place, we did realize is that there is some maintenance that we should be doing that will help with it. It's not necessarily something that would have prevented it, because we did have a bit of a pressure issue that was sent to us from Great Lakes Water Authority. It's not something that is 100%. We're potentially going to have issues, but it certainly would have curtailed the level and extent of anything that would have happened if we did not have those pressure reducing valves.
Okay. The second was from a resident. Give me 1 second here. They mentioned that there was a water main leak, or it was shut off on Hayes between 14 and 15. I guess it was leaking for a while. He wanted to know if it was repaired, or if that line is active again.
Yeah, maybe Rob can answer that one, or Joe.
Someone.
Good evening again. Joe was more hands-on on this item, so I brought him up. But if we're talking about the one near French Creek and Hayes, we've been monitoring that. No water's been shut off. That water is on, but there's an awful lot of drainage that come out of that wooded lot behind that. So we rechanneled some of the water coming out of that so we can further determine if there's a water main break in there, which we're leaning towards there's not, but we're watching that.
Okay. Thank you.
I watch it frequently. Keep an eye out. Yes. Council member, let's go with Shornack, since I was leaning that way.
Well, with regards to that, the GLWA, because they had that spike, are they going to be responsible for any of the repairs that we had to do because of their spike? God knows they like to upcharge us for everything, so I'm thinking they should be on the hook for this.
Interesting question. I don't know if Don has any feedback on that, but my guess is there's probably some exemption for them.
Of course there is. Well, I think they should be paying for that, but anyway. Two, I want to say, great job on the courts. They look beautiful. I don't play either, but I'm sure residents will very much enjoy them because I don't think they'll be tripping over cracks, so that's good. There was a resident who emailed us, so I'm just going to answer this way because I cannot stand going back and forth. I would rather have a physical conversation with somebody than going through email and all that. Asked about why we increased the taxes. FYI, we did not increase your taxes. If you watched the council meetings, you would understand we didn't increase your taxes. Your home value went up, which of course will increase your taxes. That's just basic math. Does it stink? On one hand, yes. On the other hand, no, because your home's going up in value. Positive thing. Understand everybody is not happy about the water rates. FYI, we had like 3 meetings with very good details about why we had to increase the water rates. Again, if you go back and watch them, instead of just sending emails, being all angry, and not getting the answers before you send the emails, educate yourself. We had to increase the water rates. We have not increased water rates in a very, very, very long time. So I find it amazing that everybody wants to throw stones when things go up. Our rates go up as well. Our bills go up as well. We are doing it to ourselves as well. It's not like we get a pass on any of this. It's very frustrating to get emails, especially from this individual, because this individual keeps asking or sending out complaints, I guess that's the best word to use, when we've already gone over this repeatedly in meetings. So before you send us emails, residents, please watch the meetings, or at least go on and Google something and you'll get the answers. And don't go on Facebook, because Facebook's never right. So I just want to say that because it's just very frustrating. And lastly, the museum is going to be having an open house on August 3rd. They are doing wedding dresses and I believe top hats, I think she said. So they're going to have like 12 old-time wedding dresses on display. So kind of interesting and cool. And they're gearing up for the 150th anniversary, which will be a very big thing. They have lots of things that'll be going on, demos. Everything is going to be free unless you buy food from the food truck, but there will be some like ice cream and popcorn and water. They're going to have lots of little demos of things that happened back during the 1800s. So put that in your calendar for September. I don't know the rain date, but September 7th is the date. So be looking for that, and I'll announce it again next month with all the great details because they've been working very, very hard on that. So that is all I got.
Thank you. Councilmember Stein.
I don't have much. I just want to piggyback. They do have their barn sale also this weekend.
Oh, yeah, they do. You're right.
So just because I know people love to go to that, but I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Councilmember Bransky.
Yep, I just have a couple things. I want to, I was a little rushed because I was late, so I apologize for that. But I want to, and I don't know how articulate or eloquent I was earlier when I spoke about Captain Gillis. But I want to, on behalf of myself personally and myself as the council, and I'm sure I speak for everyone, thank him again for his many years of service. It is a significant loss to the city that he could not complete his career here, and he has the right to do what he's going to do, but I just want to make sure that I make a public acknowledgement of the amazing things he has done at each level in his career, starting as a PSO, and then as a captain, then as a lieutenant, as a sergeant, then as a lieutenant, and most recently as a captain, bringing the fire side up to service, always being professional, always being someone that we get a lot of praise from the residents. And he is someone that everyone should emulate, and I hope that we can have lots more of him. I wish him good luck in his future endeavors, and at least from my perspective, there's always a place for him if and when he wants to come back. So I wanted to make that clear and eloquent. I'm not sure if I did that earlier. Also, I want to take just a minute to explain my no vote, because a lot of people put words in my mouth or think I'm meaning something when I vote one way or another. And my no vote on the captains was not because I do not want captains, 2 captains, or 3 captains, or 10 captains, or whatever the number is. My no vote was for one reason and one reason only. We had an opportunity to look at from a fiduciary standpoint, to look at the numbers and determine if in fact it made sense to maintain the existing structure or go into a different structure. And I wanted the math. I wanted to, just like we require every other department head to do, we require 3 bids before we accept a proposal. We've required the Department of Public Works to do it. We've required the Recreation Department to do it. We've required the city manager to do it. But for some reason, we as a council are not requiring that with this vote in the Department of Public Safety. I wanted the math before I approved the captains. That's all it was about. It was not about, I don't want captains, or I don't want a hierarchy that has a very important, top, middle, and bottom. So I just want the residents to understand that. I want our employees to understand that, so that it is crystal clear from my mouth to your ears why I voted the way I voted. And it's simply a matter of, give me the math, so that, just like they did with the garbage today, they gave us the math, they gave us the data, and that's how I based my vote. So I just wanted to clarify that. Otherwise, lots of good stuff coming up and lots of construction, and excited for it, so.
Okay, all set?
Yep.
Thank you. Councilmember Odell.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember, or Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland, I should say.
I only have one thing, and I've never done this before, but my children actually made a point to let me know that they were going to watch this council meeting tonight. So I just wanted to say hello to Aiden and Catherine and tell them how much I love them.
Very nice, very nice. All right, my turn. I'll be brief. My understanding, we've heard nothing from Sheets yet, but they did cut the grass, so that's a small step in the right direction. But nothing, no word at all?
In what context? Because there
Like,
are
when are they
ongoing-
tearing down the building?
Oh, no, I don't have any input.
that's
into
all.
that. I thought I heard somewhere, though, I don't know who I heard it from, they were going to wait on demo until after the planning commission meeting.
And
The
that,
planning commission is approving the site plan this month,
okay, and that's on the 21st.
21st of this month. So my understanding
Thank you.
was,
That's-
I had heard from someone, I don't know if it was from the lawyer, I can't remember who told me that, but yeah, that's the understanding is the owner wants to wait until the site plan's approved.
Okay.
I think it's part of the deal they have with Sheets, that the site plan has to be approved before they demo and incur that expense. So then after that, that sounds like that's the plan.
Okay, and everything else is locked and loaded? Everything else is executed, to your understanding?
Yes, CRA is done. Notice of the zoning map amendment is done. We are negotiating or working with them on all of the maintenance agreements that are required by the CRA. The first of which is the stormwater facilities maintenance, which we're really close to finishing. And then we have the other maintenance agreements for the pedestrian plaza and the detention basin and all the other things that have to be maintained by them. So all of those are in progress.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to end with that. Let's open up to citizen participation. We've got a citizen who has been waiting patiently for a very long time. Come on up, Greg.
Greg Gruenberg, 17540 Wilhelmine. The other day, this was on my doorknob.
Okay.
It says reappraisal. What's going on? City Council know anything about this?
Yes. I would direct Mr. Denault? No. Well, okay, who would, the city manager, there's somebody over there that knows why
You can only
that door
assume it's
tag got there.
assessing. I don't know.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
assessing. So we've had
Not me.
All right, let's,
we have had a group of people with our assessing department that on an annual basis, they come in, they need to reassess per state requirements, 20% of the properties in the city. So they are working on that right now.
okay. So that's an annual, that's state statute.
State statute, every year, assessors need to review at least 20% of the properties in a community.
Yes. So this is normal. And
Because I've been here 9 years, and
I'd never got a door tag either.
We
I've
got
never
the
gotten
short
this.
stick.
So sometimes they might just do it very minimally with just a drive-by. It all depends on potentially things that are in the building department file, or if it's just something that they have not looked at in quite a while, that they want to be able to have an opportunity to reassess it.
But they don't do the same houses every year.
20%. So,
No, but.
Every
20% of
5
the
years,
city-
every house
Correct.
is reappraised.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
right,
It's
so
not
every
your
5
house
years.
every year.
Every
He
5
drew
years,
the
they
short
will-
stick.
Yeah.
Every 5 years in some form or fashion, whether it either be driving by, looking at, going in, they'll be taking a look at each.
20% of the city, not the same 20%.
Correct.
Got it.
So I had mine reappraised 10 years ago, and they just did an outside look, and then the next year I actually got an increase, came into the board of review, which Mr. Perry was on for several years, and had them look at it, and they changed it, so.
Basically, you're telling me this is separate than the normal increase that we usually see every year?
You may not see an increase at all. This is just a normal process to confirm the appraisal. And in my case, they actually thought my house was 400 square feet bigger.
Yeah, they normally do it to adjust their records. So it's not like fee, there's no fee attached to it. You're not supposed to get,
I understand that. I'm just,
Do your SEV.
Checks and balances,
okay,
right?
all right.
well, like if they see a deck that wasn't on the record, they'll come in and say, they have to add it to the roll. So normally that's what they're doing, or like a shed or a hot tub. I think yours was a hot tub, wasn't it?
I had a hot tub.
And then you didn't have it or
And I,
something?
yeah, that's when I saw you and I begged you for my
Yeah. Yep.
forgiveness. Well, I had taken it down and it was still on the roll. And
Yes.
it was actually added $1,000 of value
Yeah.
to my house. But before that, the assessor had come out and said, your house is 2,400 square feet. And I said, no, I got blueprints that say it's 2,000. So they only look at the outside. They don't,
Yeah, they don't come in.
not necessarily, no,
They're not supposed to.
not, well, I don't know what the rights are, but
So if there are things on the record that are incorrect, and it is, say, something like materials on the inside, you can have them come in, but if you don't let them come in, they're going to go based on what their assumptions are on the records.
Because my next door neighbor told me they took pictures of my yard from his yard. That's why I was wondering. I was busy doing something else. I didn't want to run upstairs from my basement and answer my front door.
yeah, so there's probably 1,200 or 1,000 properties being reappraised this year. You're one of them, and you got the door tag.
Yeah, I got the short straw.
If it was only worth some free Dairy Made upside-down banana splitters.
Oh, yes.
All right.
One other question.
Yes.
Talking to my neighbor who's lived here for 48 years, what's it going to take for us to be able to have a police department be a police department and not having to have 3 jobs, basically, like we have right now with them? Reason why I'm asking is we had a little incident a couple of weeks ago in my neighborhood, and 2 police officers showed up, and he's talking to the police officers, and they said they were the only 2 that were on duty that night. I mean, is this just a normal occurrence that there's only 2? And that's why I'm asking, what's it going to take for us to have, regular police department and getting more police officers on the job?
They're working on it.
Money.
Well, I know everything is money, and that's why I'm asking, because I know we don't have our own dispatch anymore.
No, we're with Sarisa, that's true.
And-
So I would say that that person right there, you.
Glad to talk
she's
to her,
very,
too.
she's very accommodating, so,
Appreciate it.
no problem. Thank you. Thanks for your thoughts. All right, anyone else in the audience like to speak? It looks like there's no one else left. Make a motion. I will make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mayor Lessig, seconded by Councilmember Shornack to adjourn the meeting at 10:13. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.